Hello, my name is Jim Laughlin. I teach clarinet at Amarillo College. I wanted to talk to high school players about developing technique. One way to develop technique is to learn to play in different key signatures, right? And a way to do that is to practice scales. We don't learn scales just to play scales. We learn scales to play in different keys. So when you're in band and you see a key signature, first of all, you should know what key that is. And then secondly, you should be able to play that major scale or minor scale. So we have 12 half steps within the octave. So there are 12 different major keys and 12 different minor keys, except some of them overlap and we have inharmonic keys, which means it's the same pitch but different names, like F sharp, G flat. We have a key signature of F sharp, which is 6 sharps, and we have a key signature of G flat, which is 6 flats, but they're the same fingerings. When I play F sharp or G flat on the clarinet, it's the same fingerings, right? So we actually have 15 standard major key signatures, but there's only 12 actual fingerings. So when I see the key of G flat or the key of F sharp, it has the same feel. When you play in a key, you have a certain feel on the instrument, right? And you have kinesthetic memory. So you have to practice your scales and practice playing in the key to have that finger memory. So when I play in a certain key, a given key, it has a certain feeling, and I don't have to think about the key signature. I know how to play in all key signatures, or all keys. 12 major keys, 12 minor keys. I know what it feels like. So when I see the key signature in band or orchestra, my hands go to that key, and I've memorized that feeling. So it's a feel. So to get that, we have to just run our scales till we're proficient, right? And then even after we're proficient, we still have to maintain proficiency. So I can't develop proficiency and then put it away. I'll lose that feel or that proficiency. So I have to keep practicing my scales so that I maintain my skills and my proficiencies. So first of all, let's talk about the chromatic scale. It's important when you play the chromatic scale, you do the correct fingerings. So if I start with a low E, F, F sharp, G, I want to lift both pinkies together. We never want to alternate your fingers where one is coming up and going down, right? So that's not good technique. You'll always, someone will always beat you if you're doing that. If you have fingers moving in opposite directions. So we have chromatic fingerings so that our fingers are going to move together. So low E, F, F sharp, and then they both come up together. G sharp, A, B flat, and then we use our fork, B natural, so that these two fingers come up together. C, C sharp, D, we could use our fork, D sharp, E, F, side F sharp, so that the two fingers come up together. We don't want to go thumb F sharp to first finger, thumb F natural to first finger F sharp, because we're doing opposite things. We want to avoid opposite motion for better technique. So F sharp, G, A, B flat, B natural, and then the same fingerings on up. So make sure that you know your correct chromatic fingerings. Now let's talk about major scale fingerings. So for if I'm going to play an E major scale, I'm going to start with low E. I know that it has a G sharp, and I'm going to play my G sharp in my right hand. We always want to avoid sliding, right? We'll never get a slide very clean, right? Sometimes we're forced to have to do that, but not in major scales. So we want to do our major scales with the correct fingering. So if I know I've got a G sharp, I'm going to start with my right hand E, go to my left hand F sharp, and come to my right hand G sharp, because we want to alternate pinkies. We don't want to slide. And then the same thing up here, we're going to go right hand B, left hand C sharp, because I know there's a D sharp, right? I don't want to go left hand B, right hand C sharp. Now I'm stuck, and I've got to go for my right hand. So you gotta play your right hand B, left hand C sharp, right hand D sharp. So any key signature that has a G sharp or a D sharp, we're going to have to play right hand. So we go to left hand, back to right hand. Okay, the next scale is F major. That's probably the easiest one, right? Maybe that or G, but F major is probably the first one you learn. This one, if you're in high school, you should be able to play at 3 octaves. Right, so our high C, D natural. When you get to the D natural, make sure you have this pinky down, right? Your E flat pinky down, D, E, F natural, right? And one of the earlier videos I talked about the voicing. When you're up in that register, you want to make sure you have, you're making an E sound. If I'm going ah, right? If your high F sounds like that, that's because you're playing it like ah, ah, right? Not E. Make an air sound. Arch your tongue like you're saying, make the sound E. Do the right fingering. If you have the correct voicing, the F comes out real easy. Okay, the next scale is F sharp. I know that the F sharp major scale has a G sharp in it. So I want to alternate, so I don't want to start with my right hand because I have to use the right hand for the G sharp. So we're going to have to go left hand, low F sharp, G sharp, right? The key of F sharp has 6 sharps. You can think of everything is sharp except for a B. If you think on the other side, if I know the key of F has a B flat, then the key of F sharp has everything went up a half step. Everything is sharp except for B, so it has a B natural. So we want to make sure that we start with our F sharp in the left hand. So since I have an A sharp to a B natural, I'm going to use my chromatic fingering because I always want to avoid contrary motion. That is bad technique. I can get by with that for a long, long time until I'm 1 chair away from Allstate and I'm going down to El Paso or Midland or wherever. And if I'm trying out for the Allstate and I'm doing this, I'm going to get beat. Probably will never make the Allstate band if you're not doing the correct technique, right? So, so the A sharp to B natural to C sharp, right? So these fingers come up together. We don't want to do contrary motion. Now, since I have an E sharp is like an F. E sharp, I'm going to use my side F sharp. Again, I don't want to go lift my thumb when I'm putting this down. I want to avoid contrary motion in all keys. And if you can learn to do that, then you'll have excellent technique and you won't have problems when you're doing that final push to beat some kid from Houston or Dallas or El Paso. It doesn't matter where they are. You're going to be better than them, right? If you do the correct technique. So avoid contrary motion. So the fork F sharp. So in the key of F sharp, we're doing our A sharp to fork B natural, and we're going to use E sharp to side F sharp. Side F sharp. Fork B natural. Well, it's harder to play it that way, right? It's harder to play it that way. I'd have to invest more time to do that. to play it correctly. So I've had students, say they don't want to invest the time early on, so they play it wrong until that week before that region audition, and then they try to spend 1,000 hours in 1 week trying to correct bad technique that they've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. So the time to correct it is now, not the week before your audition, right? So develop correct technique. The G major scale is pretty simple. So there's several fingerings for that high G. From the high F sharp, you could just do the bottom side key. I think I hit the bottom too. Or probably on the G major scale, I would do that one. There's different fingerings for high G, but I don't know if the region scales have you go up 3 octaves or not. It might just have you do 2 octaves. Right? It's all about crossing the break, A to B. So crossing the break, you've got to make sure you have the correct hand position. Let's see, A flat major. So since we've got that E flat, you want to make sure you're playing the right hand C, left hand D flat, right hand E flat, right? So we always alternate. So that one doesn't have too many challenges. The A major scale I don't think has too many challenges. So I guess I like to use my left hand B, right hand C sharp. Or I actually could do it either way. So I could do it with my left hand B, right hand C sharp, or I could do it with my right hand B, left hand C sharp, and there's really no benefit either way. In this key, there's nothing keeping me from which way I want to do it, right? The main thing is you just want to alternate. I guess I prefer doing the left hand B and the right hand C sharp. B flat is not an issue. Right? Do you want to play side E flat or do you want to play fork E flat? I think either way is appropriate for this scale. I could do it either way. I probably tend to use the side key a little bit more, and I use the fork for chromatic fingerings. Now, since I have the E flat in the right hand, I'm using the C in the right hand, C, D, E flat. I'm keeping it in the same hand. If you went left hand C natural, C, D, E flat, I think Doug Story says to try to keep a phrase in the same hand if you can, but you don't want to slide. So I'm using right hand C to right hand E flat. We can double check that with Doug Story. And that was the B flat major scale. So now the B major scale, lots of sharps. I know B flat has 2 flats, so I know that those 2 flats are natural in B. So B has 5 sharps. If B flat has a B flat and an E flat, then I know B has a B natural and an E natural. Everything else is flat. So I know there's a D sharp coming up. So I'm going to use right hand B. So I go to left hand C sharp. So I go to right hand D sharp. If I know a key has a D sharp in it, then I want to use my right hand B. C major is no trouble, but there is one thing about C major. It helps to, when you cross the break, when you play the B, put both pinkies down together. Put both pinkies down, B, C. So you don't want to go B, C, right? You don't want to, there again, there's contrary motion, right? We're rocking the boat. So when you go from the A, put both pinkies down together. So they're moving together. So we always want our hands moving together. We don't want to go B, C, D. That's not going to be good technique. So on the C major scale, when I go from A, when I go to B natural, I put both pinkies down together because I want my fingers moving together as much as possible. I want to avoid contrary motion. If I have to put down the C when I'm lifting the B, that's not good technique. Again, coming down, I went C, and then I leave it down for the B. I don't lift it up for the B. So I want to avoid contrary motion in all scales. So D, C, I leave it down, B, and then I lift them together. So C sharp, we know everything is sharp. Right, so E sharp to F sharp, I'm going to do the chromatic fingering. Side F sharp because I want to avoid contrary motion in all my scales. I know there's a D sharp coming up, so I want to use my right hand B, C sharp, and then my D sharp. So I'm going to go to the right hand B. Sorry, that was a B sharp. So you want to use your right hand B sharp, which is the same as C, but you know there's a D sharp coming up, right? So alternating your pinkies like that. Fork F sharp. Right, so your side F sharp and alternating your right hand B sharp, C sharp, and then your D sharp. Let's see, that was your C sharp major. D major. Right, is a preference. I like to probably go to my left hand B to my right hand C sharp. I guess there's nothing keeping you from doing a right hand B to a left hand C sharp, although that right hand B you kind of have to reach down for it. So I guess I just prefer using the left hand B to a right hand C sharp. Make sure on that high D you get that pinky down, right? So a lot of college students that I see coming from high school don't do that. So yeah, we could get by with that, but your high D, number one, the tone doesn't sound correct, and it's usually flat. So make sure you get that pinky down. The E flat major scale. So your D and use your fork fingering for high E flat. Again, we don't want to do contrary motion, right? So D to E flat, high E flat, don't do this. E major, I know is going to have a D sharp, so I'm going to use right hand B, left hand C sharp, so that I have my right hand D sharp. Actually, that's where we started, right? Now, coming from C sharp, I can't get to that fork D sharp because, again, I'm doing contrary motion, right? So from the C sharp, I'm going to go to that D sharp because I don't want to go C sharp, lift this finger when I'm putting down that finger, right? So again, I'm avoiding contrary motion. So C sharp, D sharp, E, right? So this time I'm going to use this fingering. So it's all about avoiding contrary motion. So work on your major scales and make sure you're doing the correct fingerings. There are clarinet fingering charts for your scales available. So I know Mr. Story has those available through WT, and you can find them on the web. But watching this video, try to pick up those correct fingerings and work on your major scales.